Welcome everyone to this Let's Play. This is episode 19 of Kerbal Space Program First Contract. Now we have a problem. It's an embarrassing problem. It's a problem we'd rather not have in this particular circumstance. It's a double-edged sword, another way of putting it, because we have been very lucky in our contracts and we have been very cunning in our strategies, and we now have a grand total of 5,772 science, and that will reveal almost all of the currently available science items in the science centre. So for example, we will be able to purchase all of these lovely spaceplane parts, and we all know what I think of space planes, so we will research that. More spaceplane parts. You know, we are going to have to do some space planes. We are simply going to have to do space planes. And what's this? This is large control. So what's that? The large RCS fuel tank, a couple more Kerbal carriers, and an escape system, so we will have that. Unmanned tech is a couple more probe bodies and yet another MechJeb feature, which we haven't actually been using, but it's there as a backstop if we need it, so we will research that. And this is a very interesting thing. This is ion propulsion, so this is the parts needed for ion propulsion. And that's very good for satellites and small craft. Very, very efficient engine and fuel system. Uses a lot of electricity, but we will research that. Now, 4,000 science left. Now, each of these items is 550 science. So let's have a look, shall we? Super heavy rocketry, very heavy rocketry. These are the NASA-sized parts. So yes, we will have those. We'll be able to get most of these, I should think. What else have we got? We've got meta materials, including Kerbal attachment system grappling hook, some adapters, a hub for space stations, a inline clampetron, and clampetron docking port senior. These are very good for larger vessels, so yep, we will definitely have that. Larger spaceplane parts, larger cockpit and adapters. So, well, we'll leave those to last, as we always do. Advanced motors for larger rovers. So we will take that one. More science. We have a science nose cone. Good for, well, as C7 Aerospace have built it, probably likely to be good on aircraft. And a Gravimax negative gravioli detector. More science, so we will definitely have that one. This is specialized electrics, so we have the RTG, radioisotope thermoelectric generator. Always good to have, particularly on smaller craft, so you never run out of electric power, even on the dark side. And then a large round battery, so we will have that one. And we still have 1,500 science left, so we won't quite have enough for 3 more. Shame. So what's this? This is advanced unmanned tech, so this is mainly probe bodies. I like the round probe bodies. They make much neater, larger probed craft. That's the inline probe core for aeroplanes, and another MechJeb feature that, like I say, we haven't yet been using. 972. Now we'd need 1,100 to reveal both of these. So we've only got to pick one, so let's pick this one, because these are probably more usable parts for the space plane I'm going to have to eventually make. Yeah. Okay, so we are just slightly short of enough to complete this tier, but we've only got a few to go. So this is the larger aerodynamic parts. We then have, don't know why this is nano lathing, it's an electromagnet from the CAS pack. We then have automation. This is a pod version of mechanical jeb. No, we can't think of anything that could go wrong with letting an experimental AI handle every aspect of a mission. Not much better than letting me or Jeb fly the darn thing. And down here we have a ScanSat altimetry sensor, part of the ScanSat pack. So we are getting very close to completing our tech tree. So I'm sure we have enough tech here to be cracking on with our asteroid mission. So I will see you shortly. No sooner had Jeb and I got back to the astronauts' ready room when Jean came crashing in. The good old guys at Kerbodyne have done it again. They are practically throwing away the crown jewels along with the bath water and the kitchen sink to give us this trivial contract. Test the S3KS25X4 engine cluster on a suborbital trajectory over Kerbin. Now, in order to do that, they are going to give us a sizable advance of $250,000 funds, and they're going to give us some of their internal industrial secrets. On completion, we'll get nearly $500,000 funds and practically all the rest of their internal industrial secrets. This is just silly money. So we're going to accept this contract and head off to the VAB. I'll see you there. Okay, so it's about time we put some of our new devices that we have earned to the test. So we'll start off with this handy dandy control unit. And let's just have a quick look at the device that we need to test. It's this 4-engine cluster. Now, we don't need much fuel for it. We just need to get it into orbit and then deorbit. So let's attach all these things together. Let's use an adapter. Put the tank on there and the engine. So that's pretty much it. We've just got to get that into space. Now let's just do a little bit of the usual fittings. We'll put a control wheel on there. We will put our Kerbal engineering and flight engineer on there. Now we really ought to try and recover this vehicle. So we will add some parachutes. There we go. Let's get a ring of parachutes around the outside. We shall then have our cannot do without solar panels, just so we don't run out of electricity while we are adjusting our orbit in some way. That should be good. So now all we need to do is get this thing into the sky. So let's have not quite that many decouplers. 2 will be just fine. And I think this design needs some big engines. So with big engines come big tanks and some whopper engines to get us off the ground. Now we will need some struts, so let's go and get some struts to hold these things in place, because they're going to be darn heavy. And we'll use our struts at the bottom here as well, like so. There we go. So that should hold those together. Now we don't need to take all this fuel into space, we just need enough to fire the engine. So that should be plenty. And we need some stabilizers, so let's put some launch stabilizers on. Let's put 2 of those on and 2 of them in here. And now let's just double check our staging, which of course is completely incorrect. So let's get those down there. let's get our test engine into its own section so it's ready to test. Let's just lower this back down towards the platform. So that all looks good. We have 5070 delta V, which is plenty, absolutely plenty. And I think we're ready to go. Let's just name this craft as oops, caps lock on. Kerbodyne Mark 1, that'll do. Probably won't need this again. I mean, we're going to be owning Kerbodyne at this rate. So let's head on out to the platform and earn ourselves some more science. I'll see you there. Okay, Kerbodyne, let's show everyone what we're made of. So let's throttle up, get the T key on, the SAS on, and launch. Now let's get our contract up so we know exactly what we need to do. Our primary goal is to get up over, well, about 82 kilometers, so that's 82 kilometers here. Now if we just watch our terminal velocity, clearly we don't need to be full on the acceleration because we're already ahead of terminal velocity, so let's just throttle back and let terminal velocity catch us up. So terminal velocity 140, we're 160, so we're a little bit high, so let's save a little bit of fuel. And then let's keep an eye on our total altitude here, our target altitude. This has got to get to 82, 83 so that we can coast up to that point and then fire our engines. So we're coming up to our usual turn point, so let's get turned over. Still a little bit ahead of terminal velocity, but that's quickly catching us up now that we're going through this lower part of the atmosphere. So let's keep an eye on our maximum height here. As we ascend to glory. Science, so much science. Go 50 kilometers, so if we get it to about 85 then we will lose a little bit as we go through this upper part of the atmosphere. See, it's coming back just very slightly as drag pulls us back, and as soon as this goes green, we will fire our stages. No need to lose our outer stages if we can bring them back with these parachutes. So let's just adjust our order of staging. Go. So to perform the test, activate the part through staging. So all we have to do is wait to be A, in orbit, which we are now, and B, at our target altitude. So we won't be dropping any more altitude now, we just have to wait. 75. Won't be long now. As soon as that clicks over to 82, we're out of here. 80. 81. There she goes. And there we are. All tested. We didn't even have to throttle up. But let's go retro. And if we use up our fuel On the retrograde marker we can try landing as close to the space station as possible. I mean, we're going to be quite a way away, but every little bit helps. Let's not be wasteful. Throttle up. And there she burns. There's that tiny amount of fuel we had in the main engine. We are now pretty much coming straight down. Fantastic. So, with this little side trek now complete, I will see you back in the Science Centre. See you there. As promised, here we are back in the Science Centre with another 7,000 science. Thanks very much, Kerbodyne. So let's get our much loved heavy aerodynamic parts. Not. We can now pick up the electromagnet from the nano lathing section. Our mech jeb automation part. And finally, our ScanSat altimetry sensor. And that's it. We have now successfully completed the entire tech tree. Mostly thanks to the generosity of Kerbodyne. And we still have 3,800 science. Now that science is perhaps a little excess, but excess is what we like in this game. So we're going to move on to capturing that asteroid, building our base, and going onwards and literally upwards. So I'm going to see you in the tracking centre very shortly. So here we are in the tracking station, and we need to be looking for asteroids, in particular Class C asteroids, because that's what we need to build our now infamous asteroid base. Now you can see the asteroids here. I've been checking out a few of them to try and find some Class C asteroids, and to make it a little easier, let's switch off all of the indicators for the other types of objects. So all that remains are asteroid style objects, and the ones we're interested in are Class C, so not Class D, huge. There's a Class C, so let's track that one, and we'll get an encounter, excuse me, in 31 days time. What else do we have? We've got another Class C there. Track that one. That'll be an encounter in about 77 days. Class A, tiny. Class C, there we go. Let's track that one. And that one, even further round, at 123 days. So we do have 3 shots at this. And the one I think we'll be most interested in is this one. An encounter with Kerbin in 31 days. So I think this is going to be our guy. So, with that in mind, I'd like to thank you for watching and hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.